So there was a recent Twitter spat. Apparently, Jimmy Dore is on AOC's mind. AOC is thinking about Jimmy Dore just one day prior to force a vote, Sunday. Today, right now, it is 6:21 a.m., Saturday, January 2nd, 2021. So tomorrow is force to vote. Force to vote. Either Nancy Pelosi puts universal health care up on the floor for up or down vote, or we don't vote for Nancy Pelosi for Speaker. We vote somebody else for Speaker. That's going to happen tomorrow. So AOC had responded saying about how the tactic wasn't very good, or it was mistimed, slightly mistimed, late tactic, late in the game tactic. They didn't agree with it, and then they said something about it's not the tone, because Jimmy Dore said something like, fuck you, fuck you. And it's like, I'm not worried about the tone, fuck you and fuck the people who protect you. She said that's violence. Now, what I believe he meant by that, fuck you, the people who protect you, fuck you, and the people who defend what you're doing. You promised us Medicare for all. You're not getting us Medicare for all. Did you leverage something else? Because if you leverage something else, then you should just let us know. But if you leverage something for your own self, your own selfish self, but not for the public, well, then you'd probably keep that secret and then just kind of lash out at everybody. So AOC says that the words of Jimmy Dore is violence. That's violence. It's not the tone. Now, you might say it could be indicative of violence. You could say that, it's hateful, but it's not even a threat. It's not even, a promise of things to come. All it is anger at the person at the moment. So I feel like, you're not doing what we want as a representative, so you need to step down and let somebody else get in there who will get us Medicare for all. So not like, fuck your career, right? Fuck your policy position. But she's going to say that's violence. The words of Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore is in Pasadena, California. She's in D.C. And he yelled at a camera and said, fuck you and fuck those who protect you. And she claims that that's violence. So let's think about what violence is. Nancy Pelosi just got her house vandalized. That's actual violence. I don't know if AOC knows the difference between words and actions. Nancy Pelosi, someone spray painted her house and they put like a pig, the head of a pig, and it had an A with a circle, and then it had like red paint on it. $2,000 cancel rent. They spray painted $2,000 cancel rent, and we want everything. That's actual violence. What happened to George Floyd? That's actual violence. Police brutality, that happens every day. 68,000 Americans dying with no health care. That's violence. That's actual violence. That's people dying. That's not somebody, said something that scared you from a mile away. If anything, this shows the privilege of AOC. He had anger towards me. Some guy a million fucking miles away had anger towards you. Oh, some guy a million miles away had anger towards me. If anything, Jimmy Dore, I hope he doesn't become a martyr, because I believe that this can only be flipped around. Oh, Jimmy's. Okay, so AOC voted for the $900 billion COVID bill. $900 billion COVID bill. You know what was tucked into that 5,500-page contract for America? You had $30 million for violence against Venezuela. You had $500 million for violence against the Palestinians. $500 million going into Israel. $1.3 billion going to Egypt. A military dictatorship, violence against their own people. $30 million. $500 million, $1.3 billion. People want to talk about a $2 million house. Meanwhile, Nancy has a $5.5 million house. She's worth $140 million. And then the shit that they pass, these bills, the endless wars, the NDAA, they overrode the veto. They could have ended the war, but the Democrats are the party of imperialism now. They overrode Donald Trump's veto. That's violence. endless, wanton violence, fascist violence, for the sake of violence, for the sake of oppressing. Authoritarian just for fuck's sake on the entire world. AOC is a part of that. AOC, for better or worse, is part of the government. You take away my right to say fuck. You take away my right to say fuck the government. AOC doesn't seem to understand free speech. Or maybe she's just been, you know, comfortably secure her entire life. When there's child abuse, when there's poverty, when there's homelessness, police brutality, and criminals, motherfuckers going around killing people's dogs. You got trafficking, you got arson, you got rape, you got murder, and you got violence. Violence is up there. Violence is the worst. And if you had, you know, little things and big things, violence is the big thing. Actual violence, real violence, vandalizing Pelosi's house kind of violence. Not some words spoken, you know, by some jagoff comedian in some house in Pasadena, California. And you know the Pasadena cops beat the shit out of Bobby Fischer? Like one of the greatest Americans ever, they beat the shit out of Bobby Fischer. So when AOC talks about Jimmy Dore being violent, no, it's his tone that you don't like. It's the hatred behind the tone. And maybe you could say it's indicative, but it's not even a threat. So we as a society, we're not opposed to violence. The cop beats the shit out of somebody. Nobody says a word. Nobody says that this is wrong. And the definition of terrorism is when you attack the civilians for a political purpose. Like what? To keep them in line? To send the rest of the people a message, look what I'm prepared to do to this one. So yeah, I feel like when AOC talks about violence, I hope that this doesn't, I hope Jimmy Dore isn't harmed. I hope nobody's harmed. I hope AOC realizes that people in America are actually hurting and she actually delivers something for America, because if the Democrats don't deliver this time, then we're going to get something worse than Trump. We're going to get something worse than Trump. Bill Clinton didn't deliver. Barack Obama didn't deliver. We need a fucking president in my goddamn lifetime to deliver. We got a right-wing president, incoming right-wing president, right-wing Senate, right-wing House, and we need progressive change. So is there any hope in America? Is there any goddamn hope at all? Force the vote. It's going to happen tomorrow, Sunday. Peace.